You're listening to the Coupling Up podcast. Ending a relationship can be profoundly difficult. Some people go their whole lives without ever truly moving on. So wouldn't it be great to have a professional who can guide you all the way through it? Someone who could give singles struggling with breakups, dating games, or loneliness the best tips for finding healthier romance. Well, you found her. This is the Coupling Up podcast, and this is your host and teacher, Sean Davis.
Hey, it's Sean with the Coupling Up podcast, and today's episode, I'm going to share a Reddit poster story on dating and getting benched, or what we used to call being led on, way back in the ancient days of online dating apps and sites. So let's dive right in. Okay, so let's break down this term of benching. Benching is when you are interested a little bit, but your feelings are just not strong enough to really choose this person. This comes from a place of sometimes insecurity or just not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings. So you agree to the idea of certain things. So maybe it's this dream of having a family one day. But you're actually keeping the person on the back burner for a rainy day. So you're almost like rotating people around based on how much you like them right now, and you're comparing them to others you're dating. So let's say the energy and chemistry is really, on for this person, but you meet somebody else over here and that chemistry and connection, let's say that one is just like really big. And then we might have somebody else who has this amazing chemistry that's even more than that. So this person that we started off with may not be who we really want, but we hold on to them because, what if all these other people go away? So this is a dating strategy that's being used now, and we want to be aware of that so we don't accidentally do that or we're not on the receiving end of it. Today's Reddit story asks, am I being benched? So I met this guy out at a pizza place. We met because we were both trying to get this random drunk girl home, since the pizza place was near the bars. We hit it off and it was great. I live in San Diego. He lives in Phoenix, where I used to live. Ever since I came back to San Diego, we were so obsessed with each other, texting, talking about the future and each other, everything lined up. A couple of weeks have gone past and he's planning to come visit me next week. But recently, he's been texting me back randomly and on his terms. Like we started off hot and heavy, and now I feel like he benched me. Like keeping me around when he wants to talk to me. I also have to remember he is a police officer, so he can't really text me on the job like he sometimes could. Or maybe he has a lot on his mind and he doesn't always feel like talking. Maybe I'm overthinking this whole situation and maybe we are fine. But I also don't want to waste my time and emotion since I really like him. Okay, so when you find yourself in a benching scenario, there are a few guidelines that I suggest that we all try to live by while we're dating. Avoid situations where texting and these conversations we're having in general are just not consistent. So it's ebbing and flowing, it's increasing, it's decreasing. There's just nothing that's super predictable about it. And I don't mean the natural lessening of texting and calls when you start to cool down from this like lust and sex time where we were dating. What I'm meaning in particular is where you're not yet cuffed with them. So the commitment's not there yet, but you sense it going there. And then they distance, removing the conversation. When it feels really close to commitment, they distance themselves. We want to stay away from those scenarios. So if you feel this lessening and then they only want to talk on their schedule, never trying to meet you in the middle or even want to do more, you're seeing behavior that's consistent with disinterest. And no matter what job they have, it's not an excuse to bench you. So just because this person in our example was talking about like a military or police officer careers, that's not an excuse to be benched. You'd be surprised, like doctors and cops and firefighters, military officers can do when they're truly motivated to make someone happy and to be happy. So avoid ambivalent men and women when you date. If you sense they're not totally into you, it's time to cut your ties and move on. But be careful. People who play games um, don't like you leaving, and so sometimes they may bring you back. They may even try to prove that they really are interested and start love bombing to keep you hooked again. So you want to remember consistency is what we're really looking for in that. So remember this: interest in you means behavior will show it, not just words. Empty promises are just that, empty. And that's the tip for the day.
Thank you for listening to the Coupling Up podcast. Sean is a professional, licensed clinical social worker, and it's her mission to help you find healthier romance. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, go to the website, renewthelove.com. While there, learn how to send messages in a dating app that shine. A free quickie course. Also, find the Readiness to Date checklist. Identify if you're ready to date or need to focus on healing first. See you next time on the Coupling Up podcast.